What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry here, and you guys are watching the Alabama Football Report once again. We appreciate you guys joining us for today's show. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. How long have you been an Alabama fan? For life is absolutely a reasonable answer. For me personally, I think the 2004 season was really the first season that I remember. Now, I was 6 years old, so don't throw me under the bus saying that I'm like a bandwagon fan or anything like that. I want to say Brody Croyle was the quarterback at the time, so let me know in the comments section, how long have you been a fan of the Alabama Crimson Tide? I really want to talk about the defense a lot today. You know, the press availability for Alabama, kind of what they've been doing. They've been doing offense and then defense, you know, kind of from day to day. So Kane Wommack, Mo Lindquist talked yesterday to Alabama media. And I tell you what, man, this is just getting me more excited and excited. We're 17 days away now from Alabama kicking off. And one of the biggest battles, you know, going into this 2024 season for Alabama on the defensive side of the ball is at that cornerback spot. And Kane Wommack was specifically asked, you know, about Jaylen Mbakwe and his progression, you know, going into this 2024 season, a very highly touted freshman in that defensive backroom. Very excited for what he can bring to Alabama on the field this year. This is exactly what Kane Wommack said about the five-star defensive back. He said, what I've been impressed with from Bach is a guy who has played another position pretty much all of high school. The growth he has made to learn the details of the position very quickly. He made strides in the springtime, but I thought he took his game to another level through the summer, and what he has shown in fall camp to where we feel he is going to have a role for us this season. He had a great day out there today. He just really started to hone in and play with anticipation as opposed to, hey, I'm just trying to get my footwork right and all that. He's starting to recognize and anticipate. It's very good to see. Now, I think the biggest takeaway for me about that quote about Jaylen Mbakwe is the fact that Kane Wommack said, we feel he's going to be have a role for us this season. And to me, that sounds like he's really working his way kind of into that possible, you know, starting position for that cornerback spot. There's a few guys, you know, we've been talking a lot about Zabien Brown. We've been talking a lot about DaShawn Jones. I think both of those guys are really your 1-2s maybe right now. But the fact that he keeps bringing up Jaylen Mbakwe, and especially a guy who really played a lot of cornerback, really he was an athlete in high school, playing quarterback, not cornerback. You know, just being able to be just an all-around athlete, learn the position of cornerback, and just really make a lot of progression so far here at Alabama. I am super excited about Jaylen Mbakwe and what he's going to be able to bring, and whether that's going to be a, you know, playing time in the defensive backfield, or maybe he's going to be returning punts or returning kicks or just doing some other things for Alabama this year. It's very exciting just to hear from the coach about, you know, a young guy coming up, being able to possibly get on the field in his freshman year. That's always super, super exciting to hear about. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm done just talking and speculating about what Alabama's going to be like this year, what these position battles are going to be like. You know, I'm just so excited for the season, and I want to hear from you guys at the pinned comment of today's video. Scale your excitement level for me, 1 to 10, 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. I think you guys should just be spamming a bunch of 10s in the comment section for me. It is the pinned comment of today's video, so if that ad comes here on YouTube, that's totally fine. Go down there, take advantage of it. Scale your excitement level for this 2024 season. Now, Kane Wommack, he's been talking a lot about this swarm defense. And, you know, yesterday he really talked a lot about these defensive backs in particular are playing more with anticipation instead of reaction. Because, you know, defense is more really of a reactionary, you know, side of the ball. Offense, you got a play call, you run your play, and the defense really has to react to that. But, you know, the goal really of defensive coaches is to prepare your, defensive guys to kind of know what's coming or expect what's coming in certain situations. And being reactionary is a whole lot better than, being able to anticipate is way better than being reactionary. You're just a whole lot faster. You're playing a whole lot more free and with more confidence, in particular to the defensive backs as well. Mo Linguist was able to talk to Alabama media yesterday, just kind of where that defensive back, progression is coming along. This is exactly what he said on the defensive backs. He said, the football character and the football identity and the football intelligence is really coming to life, and you're seeing guys just put a foot in the ground and make plays, and you're seeing guys stay more sticky in coverage. I think the film is really telling that story right now. So I think we're in a solid place right now. But we have a lot of work in front of us, but I like what I'm seeing right now from that group. Now, look, the defense in the past under Nick Saban, we've seen it so many times. It's been absolutely suffocating to a lot of offenses, throughout the season. And I want people to fear Alabama again. I want people to fear going up against the Crimson Tide. I really want it to feel, you remember back in 2015 when Leonard Fournette, they come to Tuscaloosa. He's pretty much at the time the Heisman favorite, going into that game. And Alabama goes in there and shuts him down for 31 yards in the entire game. I mean, that was really a defining moment, I think, really, in Nick Saban's entire tenure, really, as Alabama's head coach, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Man, those guys were flying around. They were just making it hard on everybody. And if you throw it back even to Nick Saban's introductory press conference, all the way back in 2007, he said, what I would like for every football team to do that we play is to sit there and say, I hate playing these guys. I hate playing them. That's what I really want to get back to. Because, last year the defense was all right. I'm not going to knock them a ton. But, a couple years, before that, really 2016 was like the last year where I really remember that defense just being, a mauler defense, if you will. Look, my mom got me a turnover chain for this season. I really appreciate it. It's very, very nice. And on the bag, basically it said, keep away from children. Children can choke on this. It could be suffocating. And that's what really made me think of this entire topic was the fact that I got this turnover chain and I want to be able to use it a lot this year. And I want this defense to just, make people hate playing them because the past couple years really hasn't been the case. And if we are talking about this swarm defense, that's what I want to see them do on the defensive side of the ball. Today's show is presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on all the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks, and you can turn $10 into $1,000, and you can sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. And guess what, guys? You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is just guaranteed, and they've already got some prize picks out there for the season-long prize picks. I've got Jalen Milroe, 574.5 yards. I'm going to pick the more than on that passing yards to be specific. Zachariah Branch, 649.5 receiving yards. I've got the more than on that as well. And then Luther Burden, I've got the more than on him. I think he's going to go for more than 1,074 yards. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the country this year. And, I hope he goes off this season because these are my prize pick selections. But there's one game against Alabama that I do not hope he goes off in that game. The rest of them, totally fine. But I hope, against Alabama, he's not going to hit those prize picks numbers. You can download the PrizePick app today and use code CLNS for your first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, run your game. I think one of the biggest, one of the deepest rooms that Alabama has right now is really that defensive line room. You've got so many guys there that can really, I think, get the job done for Alabama this year. When we look at their depth chart, really LT Overton and Jamarian Latham stick out to me at that bandit spot this year. The defensive tackles, Alabama's going to play 2 defensive tackles really at a time on the field together. Tim Smith, Tim Keenan, Jaheim Otis, I think, those are pretty much solidified the guys at that position. What those rotations are going to be like, I guess we're just going to have to see. Whether it's maybe run stopping downs or pass stopping downs, might depend on who those guys are. But I'm so excited about James Smith as well. Damon Payne. There's so many guys on the defensive line that are going to be really, really good for Alabama, whether that's this year or, next year, the year after. They've got a lot of talent. You see Keelan Keeley there also at that bandit position that I think, man, with Jamarian Latham and LT Overton, I don't necessarily know how much Keon Keeley's going to be able to play this year, but man, super excited about that kid as well. Kane Wommack was asked kind of more about the body types in general of that bandit position, and he brought up LT Overton when it came to that. He said, I think him and Jamarian Latham are really the frame. That's the ideal person. The person has to play a 4 technique. They have to play 5 technique. They have to play 9 technique occasionally. They'll fall back inside on some run fits and some of those things. They can do a lot of different things. I'm impressed with their athleticism. Those guys can really move for guys to be that big. I would say from a prototypical bandit position, it makes things really challenging to establish the run when you have a 280-pound ass kicker over there. Now look, this defensive line room, like I said, I'm very, very excited about it. There is a lot of talent in that defensive line room as well. Whether it's at that bandit position, whether it's at the defensive tackle position, anything like that as well. There's a lot of exciting talent at that defensive line position. So let me know who you are most excited about at that defensive line spot. Once again, guys, I am on Twitter as well. I also put out, all of our videos out on there. Anytime Alabama puts out any kind of content-related type things, I put those out as well. So make sure you guys give me a follow on Twitter. That's at ChrisChatSports. Go ahead and give me a follow there as well. And also subscribe right here to the Alabama Football Report if you guys haven't already. Our watch parties are going to be so fun this year. We've already kicked them off on our NFL channels for the preseason. So if you guys aren't aware of our Chat Sports watch parties, make sure you guys go over to whatever your favorite NFL team is. Jump in a watch party, and then once Alabama gets kicked off as well, join in our watch parties. Make sure you guys hit that sub button for me right now.